Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing some technical analysis on Bitcoin, and specifically, we're going to be talking about the extremely low volatility that we've been experiencing here over the last couple of weeks, and really over the last couple of months. For nearly a month, Bitcoin has been down here trading sideways in between about $7,750 and $8,400. So in today's video, I want to talk about what Bitcoin actually needs to do to break out of this stalemate between the bulls and the bears, and how we can bring back that volatility, the interest in the space, and hopefully, paradoxically, even the bulls. It's important that we understand possible scenarios that Bitcoin could play out so that we could be prepared for each of them. So this is one of them. I hope you guys do enjoy today's video. I think you will. If you do, make sure you smash that like button down below. It really helps out the channel, helps to spread Bitcoin in the YouTube algorithm, which inevitably brings more people to the space. I was introduced to Bitcoin through the YouTube space. So make sure you hit that like button. And also, if you're new here, consider subscribing and hitting the post notification bell so you'll be updated every single time a new video goes live. But guys, without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. This is not going to be a terribly complicated video, but it is a video that I think you guys are going to get a lot of value out of. As you know, Bitcoin has been trading sideways ever since about the 23rd of September. A little after I got home from Area 51, Bitcoin jumped off the metaphorical cliff from $10,400 all the way down to $7,750, and it's been sitting down here ever since. Bitcoin has attempted to get above certain levels of resistance, as it did back here earlier in the month, and has rejected. It has failed. Bitcoin is now consolidating under the 20 daily simple moving average, that's the daily exponential moving average, and the flat level of support at $7,750. Eventually, one of those is going to break, and Bitcoin is going to either start rallying, which I don't actually think is the more likely scenario, or what I think is more probable, Bitcoin is going to fall below $7,750 and start heading to lower levels of support. And guys, you might not like me saying this, but I want that to happen. That's exactly what I think Bitcoin needs to do. I think Bitcoin needs to be driven below $7,750. I think that would actually be very healthy for the market, and that's the scenario I want to talk about in today's video, is Bitcoin falling below $7,750 and why that would actually be healthy and bullish for the market. Guys, to make my point, let's go back to 2018. Remember what happened in 2018. Bitcoin sat above $6,000 for damn near a year, guys. We sat above this level for so long. I mean, look, we came down here so many times. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 times over here, and eventually Bitcoin broke it. We wasted all of this time in a bear market for one movement. This one movement right here. We wasted all of this time waiting for this one simple movement. If we had had this capitulation over here in April, we'd probably already be back at $20,000 because the rest of this market would have played out. Bitcoin would have gone on its rally, fallen over, and we would have continued up higher by now, guys. We wasted time waiting for Bitcoin to break 6K because it was inevitable. Because eventually, after Bitcoin did break 6K and we came down to 3,000, that was the permanent bottom. Bitcoin has never gone below $3,000 again, and I personally don't think it ever will. From there, we uptrended for nearly the entire year of 2019 into the correction that we're at now. Guys, the same thing is happening on a smaller scale with other levels of support, like this uptrend of support that Bitcoin was above, and now this ever so slight uptrend of support at $7,750. Bitcoin is holding above these, but it's just barely managing to hold on. Bitcoin is doing right now what we were doing over here above $6,000, guys. It was above the level, but it couldn't get anywhere away from the level because it was so bearish that we needed to break through it, but the bears just simply weren't strong enough to break through such a strong level of support because so many people had left the space that the bulls were strong enough to retain that level of support. Does that make sense? I think a similar thing is going on right now, guys. Bitcoin is sitting above $7,750. Very clearly, we're not bullish, or we would have broken above the 200 daily simple moving average and the 20 daily exponential moving average by now. We would have broken one of those if Bitcoin was going to do it by now. I really do believe that, so I think it's more than likely that Bitcoin's going to break our uptrend of support here, but it hasn't happened yet. So what gives? Does that mean that that level of support is not going to break? No, I don't think so. As you guys know, if you're in CT2A and you've watched this video right here, gauging the strength of support and resistance, if you watch that video, then you will know the more times Bitcoin tests a level of support or resistance, it tests it over and over and over and over again, the more likely it is to break. And guys, Bitcoin has been testing this uptrend of support a lot, and it does not look like Bitcoin is getting a strong bottom. We have not put a bottom in, we have not bounced. Every time we bounce, we come back down a few days later. That is a strong indication that we're going to break bearish. So what I think needs to happen and what I think is going to happen, luckily those two things line up, is that Bitcoin's going to break our level of support and we're going to move down to $7,200. And the reason I say that has to do with things we've discussed in previous videos, but I'll briefly rehash. Bitcoin is more than likely going to break this level of support, and when it does, it's going to need to find another level of support. And guys, $7,200, while it may seem inconspicuous on the surface, it actually only lines up with a little bit of support over here. It's actually one of the most important support levels that Bitcoin has below it. The first reason is because even though I think Bitcoin is bearish enough to break below $7,750, I really don't know that Bitcoin's bearish enough to go all the way to $6,000. It might be, but we're not sure about that yet. So that's the first reason that $7,200 is a good level, is that it's not actually that far away, and the bulls might be able to do something from there and stage a recovery. The second reason that that's so important is because if we bring out our Fibonacci retracement, not our Gann fan, if we bring out Fib retracement and we drag it all the way up here, guess what level lines up perfectly at $7,200? Check that out. It's the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level, one of the most important retracement levels in all of technical analysis. The level that we're sitting at right now has nothing to do with Fibonacci. But $7,200, guys, $7,200 has everything to do with Fibonacci. So if Bitcoin is going to break below 7,750, which at this point I think it's more than likely going to, then it's going to need to find another level of support. And I think the very next level of support is $7,200 on the most important Fibonacci level in all of Fibonacci technical analysis. And from there, Bitcoin can attempt to stage a recovery again. Now, I will say this, if Bitcoin falls down to $7,200 and starts doing this sideways trading crap that it's been doing for the last month, then we're probably going to $6,000, quite frankly, because Bitcoin can't keep doing this. It can't keep trading sideways because that is not how bull markets, that is not how rallies are formed. The way you do that is by Bitcoin breaking a level of support, coming down to another level of support, putting a flat bottom in, and then bouncing, or by coming down to that level of support and very, very slowly putting an uptrend into effect. I'll show you an example of both of those because both of them are good examples of bottoms. A good example of the slow recovery was when Bitcoin fell below $6,000, traded sideways, and gradually kept making higher lows until one day we started going bullish. Or you can do what we used to do back in the 2018 bear market, where Bitcoin would fall very sharply and then have a bounce. But a lot of times these kind of bounces, these V bounces, they actually don't result in a higher high, they result in a lower high. So a lot of times the more healthy thing for Bitcoin to do is a very slow, gradual recovery, because then that starts setting the precedent that Bitcoin is in an uptrend. Right now, Bitcoin has not set the precedent that is in an uptrend. Right now, Bitcoin looks like it's going to break 7,750, so it needs to get done with already. I'd like to see that happen, see it pull back down to $7,200, trade sideways and to the upside, setting gradually new highs, new lows that are higher than the ones before them, and then continue the uptrend from there. Guys, this is not like any other pullback that you normally see in bull markets. People say that Bitcoin normally doesn't pull back over 40% in a bull market. People will say that it does. If you look back on the technicals during a bull market, Bitcoin doesn't do the two things that Bitcoin has done here. It doesn't pull back below 40%, not very often anyway, and it also very rarely pulls below the 200 daily simple moving average, if at all. This is not a typical pullback on Bitcoin. This is a pullback that needs to be treated with a lot of care, and because of that, the recovery is going to be very different than a traditional Bitcoin pullback. It's going to need to be slower because the bulls are going to need to build more confidence than before. So we're going to need to do something like this at the very most. So guys, tell me in the comments section down below what you think of that analysis. Do you agree with me that Bitcoin is going to need a more slow recovery, or do you think Bitcoin is just going to rocket ship straight up from where we are right now and Bitcoin's going to continue to the moon? Because personally, none of these scenarios like this make an ounce, a lick, any sense to me. They just don't make any sense to me. Bitcoin does not look like it's bullish right now. Unless some kind of major news story comes out that sways my opinion, I'm still feeling bearish on the market, and I'm still expecting 77.50 to break sometime probably before November, maybe the first week of November. I genuinely do want to hear your comments on that, so tell me down below. And also, guys, if you haven't already, make sure you join the Discord server. The link for that is in the description down below as well. The conversation doesn't have to end when the video does. I'd love to see you guys join us. We have over 2,000 members in the Discord server. A lot of times I'm just watching and people don't realize I'm there, but sometimes I jump into the conversation and I join, and it's a lot of fun. So guys, make sure you join us over there. I do hope you guys did enjoy today's video. There's not really any news to cover today, but I did want to talk about that scenario. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Anyway, guys, like I said, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I do really want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.